Hello, my name is Mike Mueller. I'm here with Bluff Powersports. I'm your service manager here at Bluff Powersports. You're probably seeing us online at bluffpowersports.com. So what we'd like to do is take a minute to go over what we call a pre-ride inspection. And this will just help you after you buy one. And maybe you're looking at this for the first time and need to know what all to check out before you're ready to hit them trails. So first things first, let's go over some simple things. Easily handle to flip the bed on almost all of these. You may want to check with your owner's manual where all the operation of your vehicle is and be familiar with your vehicle. That is one of the biggest things that we could say when it comes to riding, and so that you and everybody in your vehicle is safe. So let's go over here. Your owner's manual in this particular model is found in your glove box. I'm just going to pull it down. We recommend that everybody take the time to read an owner's manual. There is a lot of information in here as far as what to do during a ride, if something goes wrong, where to find it on the vehicle. There's also things like tire pressure, what does all the gauges and the instruments go through. We're going to kind of touch base on some of that, but what I'd like to do is just kind of get yourself familiar with this owner's manual, and then that way you know what you're looking for, okay? This particular model is a 2019 Ranger XP, but we're going to go over kind of the basics that will apply to all vehicles here, okay? So I'm going to put this back in the glove box. It's a good idea to keep that in their glove box, and then that way you know where it is if you're in an emergency situation and you need to reference something and there is nobody around and maybe you don't have any cell signal. Google won't be able to help you in that case. Maybe something can be helped by looking in your owner's manual. So nets, we're going to check them. You have one on both sides. There's one closer to you there as there is here. Check to make sure that they are attached to the vehicle. The vehicle should move when you pull on the net. Also, same thing when you plug this in. Again, the vehicle should move slightly when you pull against the net. This doesn't have to be extremely tight. We do see a lot of people that tighten these as tight as they can. They tend to be a little hard to pull in and out if you do that too tight. If your model has actual doors, make sure that your door hinges and pins are completely secure, and that when you latch the door, you snug on it or pull on it just to make sure that it's completely latched. Next, we're going to talk about the floorboards. Make sure that you don't have any debris in the floorboard when you're riding a vehicle on a trailer. Make sure that there's nothing that's going to fly out of the floorboard and hit someone behind you, because we have seen that in the past as well. You're going to check all your seat belts. You're going to pull on your seat belts, and you're going to just check the operation of it being latched and unlatched. Don't forget, always a good case, just like it is your doors. After you latch it, pull on it, make sure it stays latched. And you might want to do that with every seat belt, especially if you have multiple riders with you. So, then going around, you're going to check to make sure that you don't have any headlight lenses that are cracked from a previous ride, maybe rocks that came up and hit it. Then you're going to pop the hood. You always want to make sure that everything under here, before you take off and hit the trails, you're going to check things like your coolant reservoir. Coolant reservoir looks good. In this case, it's at its max when this vehicle is cold, so you're good there. You're going to check to make sure your cap is on and to check all your lines. You're just doing kind of a brief oversight and a visual inspection. That's all that needs to be checked under this one. If you happen to have a vehicle where your battery is under the hood, this would be a good time to go ahead and check things like cables, condition, and tightness. Some cables we see that are used outside very often, they will have what we call corrosion. Some people call it green fuzzy stuff, whatever you want to call it. Nonetheless, if you have that on there, that'd be a great time to address that issue while you're under the hood right there. All right, so putting this back on nicely here. Make sure whatever you take off that you are completely securing and latched. Do not forget, check it when you get done. No different than the seatbelt. No different than the doors. Always pull on it and make sure. Then you're just going to make sure that your front of your vehicle is clear of debris. You don't want anything rubbing into your tires, wheels, or axles. Okay. You're going to check to make sure that you have no leaks or anything under your vehicle that you might see. You're checking things like lines, making sure that you don't have any leaks or debris coming from your brake lines. That would be important. No one wants to run out of brakes. And then checking to make sure you have nothing in your wheel well that's going to be rotating when you're going down the road, okay? Checking tires. A visual check of all four tires doesn't mean that you necessarily have to do air pressure every time, but it is a good idea to actually check all four tires as you go around the vehicle. Moving on to your steering wheel and your instrument gauges, everything looks to be intact here. So we're just going to say that we got a good ride here. It is always a good idea that if you have a problem from your previous ride, try to get it repaired as quick as you can. Here at Bluff Powersports, we'd be happy to get you in here, get you over to our wonderful service department, and they'd be able to look everything over. Don't forget there are a lot of things that could be hidden that is not in your owner's manual, that is only applied to your service manual. So, moving back here, we're going to check things like air filter. In this case, this air filter is actually put up here. I can see that it is completely latched. Don't forget that if you are on a gravel road, things like mud, sand, debris, gravel, other things like that could have a direct effect on the life of your air filter, your fluids, and everything else that has to do with a wearable item on your vehicle. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and just check the air filter real quick. We're going to pull up on these latches and down. In this particular vehicle, you have one in several spots. So I'm just going to get to it for you here. We're going to drop the air filter down, pull it out, and give it a good inspection. Here also at Bluff Powersports, because we are professionals, we do not air blow out any filters. This is a big misconception that we see in air filters a lot. Blowing out your air filter actually defeats the life of and purpose of it. It is actually separating this air filter. If you separate an air filter, you are allowing particles to go right by it. So here, we look at the condition of it. I do have people that tap it out from time to time if you need to get somewhere in a pinch, but nonetheless, please do not take compressed air to your air filter. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put it back. This air filter looks good. When I replace this air filter, I'm going to make sure that it's set neatly inside its perimeter right there, and make sure that it is completely sealed. That way it can serve its full purpose. I'm going to go ahead and latch this back for now, and I will finish up with the rest of those latches. While I'm down here, I'm going to check things like belt condition. Not all side-by-sides have a belt. However, this one does. So I'm going to make sure that my plug is completely plugged in here, and that there's no way of any debris or water or anything else that can get in here. I'm going to make sure that it's not cracked in any way. Don't forget the belt is the life between your engine and transmission on these type of vehicles. Check again to make sure I have no leaks, everything like that. And I'm just doing a solid walk around and make sure that everything else is good. I'm going to go back here, make sure I don't have any cracked lenses, especially for some of the new legal laws in which you can ride on the highway. You definitely do not want to ride with a cracked lens or anything like that. Checking under here in the back area, make sure I don't got any leaks. Especially look for seal leaks and things like that. If you're leaking fluid, nothing is worse on your vehicle than running something dry that doesn't need to be run dry. So, and make sure if you have any fluid leaks, try to tend to those as quick as you can, okay? Checking my exhaust. Remember, we do not touch any exhaust after the vehicle's running. That's why it's a good idea to go ahead and check all of these things prior to hitting the road or hitting the trail. We just want to make sure you're safe in doing that. So don't touch any exhaust or anything that might be hot. Don't forget rotors. On brake rotors, they get extremely hot as well. So moving on back around the vehicle, it looks to me like this vehicle is in shape and intact. We're ready to hit the road. Just want you all to be safe. Feel free to visit us back here at bluffpowersports.com or call us at any time, 573-785-0146. And again, you can talk to Mike or anyone here at Bluff Powersports. We'd be happy to help you.